5 for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Lewis Howes, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Always come from love.
Always come from love and win-win in every situation, whether it be relationships, business. If someone hurts you or you feel like someone did something that wasn't fair to you, always come from love and win-win. It's much easier said than done. And trust me, it's still challenging for me to do, especially when I feel defensive or upset. It's hard to do that, but always come from love and win-win.
Rule number 2, stay calm.
That's why the greatest quarterbacks are neutral energy. They'll get a little excited, they'll get a little fist pump in there every now and then, but they're not hyped every play and they're not negative every play. They have this calm, they see the field, you drop a pass and it's like a little bit, let's go, but it's very neutral. Even when you score a touchdown, unless it's maybe the Super Bowl or a big championship at the end of a game, in the middle of the game, you want to keep it pretty like even keel paced, so you can prepare for the best or the worst.
That's great, yeah.
But if you're always up and down, it's like your energy levels will go up and down and you'll be exhausted.
Totally.
You need to have energy in life.
Totally.
And if everything is tied around a story of this is bad, this is wrong, I'm in a bad place, I'm messing up, I'm going broke, that energy is going to pull you away from service.
Exactly.
Or creation, or creativity of how do I get out of this place.
Rule number 3, express yourself.
You mentioned this earlier, you have a lot of masks. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of these various masks that men wear. One of the first ones you talk about is the stoic mask.
Stoic mask, the man that has to have it all together, that never shows emotion, that's strong, but doesn't open up, who's just got a look on his face constantly, and you never know what he's thinking.
Yeah. But
he's always strong, always reliable, but doesn't really show emotion. That's a heart attack waiting to happen. For a guy that can't express himself, the guy that can't open up, the guy that can't feel, because he has to be so tough that he can't feel, or so strong in that moment emotionally that he can't feel, that is going to build a lot of disease. And it's not going to allow you to sleep. Being the sleep expert, it's hard to sleep when you got that much emotion bottled up and you're just like this all day long. Just like, I got to keep it together. I got to keep it together. How are you going to sleep if you haven't let things go? Your mind is going to be racing. You're not able to talk about things. You're not able to let things go. Your mind's going to be racing. And it's going to hurt you. It's going to compound. Like you said, I think you said there's no such thing as like a sleep bank. You can't get it back, I don't think, right? And so it's a heart attack waiting to happen. And you get to feel. You're a human being. When I was a kid, and I lived with stoic mask a lot. When I was a kid, I used to feel all the time. I used to cry more than girls. I used to feel. I used to reach out for my mom. I used to be emotional, sad, happy, and feel. And then I was told that wasn't cool a number of times in sports or whatever it was to do that. And so I started to wear that mask. And it affected me, I'm not saying I need to be a crybaby every single day and cry and be vulnerable all the time and constantly express myself. We get to be discerning as well and know when and how, but we got to have a process for these things. Otherwise, we're going to be causing so much disease within ourselves and other people.
Rule number 4, have radical honesty.
I've never been 100% honest in any relationship, intimate relationship.
What do you mean? What?
I feel like
you don't have to tell me exactly.
No, in the last relationship, let's say, just example, because a lot of the women I've been with have a level of insecurity that's, I would say below a 5 level of insecurity most of the time. I'm not saying all the time. A lot of them weren't comfortable with who I was in the world.
Oh yeah.
If I was doing an interview with you, they would have an issue with it.
Oh, sure.
Like, where is the interview? How long are you gonna be? Are you gonna have lunch afterwards? Like, you're gonna connect with this person? Just like a level of like, I don't have freedom. So I would just be like, yeah, I've got an interview today or whatever. I wouldn't say who
Skip
it
the details.
Yeah, or I'm having a coffee with someone. I just wouldn't even say I'm having coffee. You know, it's kind of like, because not that I would do anything or anything would happen. It's just, I didn't want to deal, because it happened so often in the beginning. I was like, this is not worth telling you the truth about everything.
Right.
When you
it
get
means
upset,
nothing, but you're going to freak out.
You're upset, you're hurt, you're frustrated. It's just another level of like insecurity. So I didn't have the courage and confidence to tell the truth about those types of situations because I didn't want to deal with the stress.
You didn't feel free.
I didn't feel peace, free. I didn't feel I can be myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like she trusted me. Like, if you don't trust me, you wouldn't stress. If you trust me, you wouldn't stress out about this.
Right.
So this relationship, I remember in the first few weeks of us dating, she was like, I want you to promise me something, that you will always tell me the truth. And I remember sitting there, I was just kind of like smiled. I was like, I honestly don't think you can handle the truth. And she goes, I can handle it. She goes, I may not like certain things, but I can handle it. And I go, really? She goes, yes. I don't care what you do in your life.
I can relate to that.
I don't care what you do.
Yep.
If you know, I know you love to salsa dance, go salsa dance. I know you love to do this. Like, I will trust you fully. I just want you to tell me the truth.
The lie is worse than the truth.
It's worse. It sucks, and
It
it
hurts
eats you
way more.
alive. It was never fun for me, but I felt, and then I would resent the relationship. I was in her because I wasn't telling the truth. It was a whole cycle. And so I remember I was like, wow. I had a moment where I paused. I was just looking in their eyes, and I was just like, okay, I will always tell you the truth, no matter what. Are you sure you want that? She said, yes. I go, okay, done. And it's been so freeing for me. Every moment I just say everything that's on my mind. Like radical honesty. Good book by my man, Evan Carmichael, Built to Serve. If you want to learn about your purpose and how to become a better leader in the world, I love this. He says, this is the starting point for everything. If you're confused about what to do next, if you're pressured by others to fit in or live their version of your life, if you feel held back because of people judging you, it's because you don't know who you are and what you stand for. You got to figure out who you are and what you want and how you can serve other people.
Rule number 5, pursue your dreams.
Your dreams are the most powerful thing. Without a dream, there's, again, no point being here. And we are lost without dreams. So find the time on a daily basis to dream and pursue your dream, whatever that looks like. Be on the pursuit of your dream.
Rule number 6, be mindful.
I think there are a lot of great athletes who are great men as well. I look at Steve Weatherford, who I think you know. I'm not sure if you know, but he's a father of 4. He's got another one on the way, and he's there for his kids and there for his wife. He left football to essentially spend more time with his family and pursue other things. And he's always of high morals, high ethics. He's just a guy who cares. Yeah. And so there are great examples like someone like Steve Weatherford, and then there are other examples of, and I'm not here to say like what's right or wrong or to judge people, but then there's other athletes that have 10, 11 kids with 6 different women. And again, if that's the life you want to live, great, but it's like, how are you treating those people? How are you taking care of these situations that you're creating? And do these people feel loved? Or are you just, having children and sleeping with a lot of women because that's what you want? So I think it's about being mindful of, and again, I'm not here to judge certain things of what's right and wrong, good and bad, but be mindful of how you're affecting the people around you. If you're doing it for selfish reasons because you just want to, that's hurtful. So make sure you're being mindful of these things.
Rule number 7, love yourself.
I think it's a hard life to live if we don't learn how to love ourselves. So that's been the journey. And, I was also in the special needs classes. I almost flunked out of English senior year. So it's just a challenging, I just remember really happy times growing up because I never learned how to love myself.
Rule number 8, listen to your intuition.
I was 23, 24, I read The Alchemist.
It's my favorite.
And like the end of the book is like, the treasure's within you. Don't go look around the world trying to find the treasure. I think that was pretty much the ending. So sorry to give it away if you haven't read it, but the treasure was within me. I was like, oh wow, I have all the answers I need within me.
Yeah.
And then I started like asking myself the questions. Now I'm a professional question asker to everyone else also now, but I've always been asking myself the questions. And I've found that my intuition has never been wrong. And I've gone against my intuition a lot. specifically in relationships. Like I'll get into relationships, I'm like, this is not the right thing for me. But something is telling me like I want to conquer this, or I want to help this person. I'm desiring this. And then I stay in it way too long. And my intuition's like, get out. But my head is like, yeah, but what about this? And it's fulfilling this need. And every time something doesn't work out, and I knew it wasn't going to work out. My intuition is telling me like, why are you doing this?
Rule number 9, address your past.
At the 3-day mark, the trainer of this workshop said, okay. And at this time, people were really opening up at this time. People were, very vulnerable. People were crying. People were talking about the different stuff that have held them back their whole life. And having these great breakthroughs and like awareness moments of like, okay, I understand this is something that I've been holding back. And at the 3-day mark, he goes, we've addressed everything from your past. And now we're moving forward. We're going to move towards the life you want to live, the vision you have for yourself, your dreams, your goals, and we're going to move towards how to accomplish them. But you can't accomplish your biggest dreams and feel fulfilled until you've addressed everything from the past. So if there's anything you haven't addressed yet in these last few days, now's the time, or forever hold your peace type of moment, is what he said to this group of 50 of us. And I'm going in my mind, I'm thinking, so he gave us a few moments to think about. I'm going in my mind, I'm like, I talked about my parents getting divorced and talked about my brother going to prison for 4 years and visiting a prison cell and what that was like, not having friends during that time. I talked about being bullied and picked on as a kid, getting picked last. I talked about feeling stupid my entire life because I couldn't read and write. I talked about all these things being in the special needs classes. What about that time I was raped by a man? And I just remember like, how come I've never told anyone that I was raped by a man and sexually abused and molested? Why have I never told anyone? Wow. And I remember in that moment just being like, if I don't say something now, I'll probably never say it to anyone. So I stood up. I didn't even raise my hand. I just stood up and walked to the front of the room. And I think because of everything that happened in my life, I just felt like I guess I needed to do it then. People were, the fights I was getting to, the relationship that I couldn't get out of, I was just like, I got to do this for myself and talk about it. So I get up in the front of the room, and for the first time, I walked through the entire story of when I was 5, and I was raped by the babysitter's son. And I reenacted the whole thing. And I couldn't look anyone in the eyes. I looked down at the carpet the entire time because I was so shameful, so guilty, so embarrassed. So I looked down at the carpet, walked through the entire thing, and I wasn't crying. I wasn't like shaking or anything. I just felt like I needed to get through it. And as I completed the story, I sat down and just erupted with the most tears I've ever had in my life. I just bawled. I was afraid. I was scared. I was just letting it out. And thankfully, there were 2 women on both sides of me who were just like holding, like squeezing me and like crying with me. So it kind of like made me feel a little bit better because I wasn't just isolated by myself. And I couldn't take it. I ran out of the room because I just couldn't stop crying. I ran out of the room. It was in a conference room in a hotel. I ran outside to get some fresh air. And there was a street, like a back street with a wall. And I put my head up against the wall with my arm against the wall like this and just kept crying. And one of the most beautiful things ever happened to me. There were men from this group who walked out and hugged me and looked me in the eyes. And they said things like, "You're my hero." They were just like, "You're my hero. I've been judging you this entire time. I've assumed things about you." One guy was like, "Wow, I had no idea. And I've never shared this with anyone, but I was sexually abused. So thank you for giving me permission to tell you. And now I want to go tell my wife and my kids or my family." And other men had other things that happened to them. They weren't sexually abused, but they had other things. And they were like, "I've just felt like ashamed of these other things. But again, you've given me permission to open up. And I respect you. I trust you because you shared this." And one guy was like, "I will follow you anywhere." Like, now that I know you're a vulnerable man, like, he's like, you can have my, you can watch my kids, you can do it. He's like, "I will trust you with my life." And I was like, what? It was just like this, it was crazy because I was so emotional. Yeah. I was terrified, guilty, embarrassed, all these things. Yet all these people and women were coming up to me being like, you are like, they were like, I'm so turned on by you, like all these, everything. It was like all at once.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip.